Hi, I'm Lightning, and before we begin, I just wanted to say a few things. I truly believe that it is important for all cultures, races, ethnicities, genders, and orientations to be represented in any media. I also truly believe that in our day and age, it is urgent that some of these cultures, races, ethnicities, genders, and orientations be represented more frequently due to their lack of representation in mainstream cinema and media. In this video, I want to go over some proper ways of getting everybody respectfully their own spot in the limelight. With that, let's begin. So at the end of the day, I'm talking mainly about fictional characters, a character someone else has made up. I've separated those into two categories, established characters and new characters. We're going to mainly focus on established characters in this video, but as far as new characters go, if you're writing a story and have the ability to put some diversity into it, do it. New characters are just that, new. And it's important we create a world just as diverse as ours. Also, if you dislike Rey because she's a woman, or Finn because he's black, you're not concerned about representation in media, you're just an asshole. Simple as that. There's no argument that a woman can't be a lead and that a black man can't be a prominent character. Those are two examples of new characters, and they are exactly as they were intended to be. That's all I have to say about new characters. In a nutshell, let's, as a society, be more open and diverse to casts and characters. Now, let's talk about established characters. These can definitely vary in what makes up the essential components to make them who they are. And it's not always black and white, pun intended. Let's start with an easy one, Batman. Batman must be the easiest character to cast for and not be offensive. Caucasian male, from the United States. That's what we typically think of when we think of Batman, right? I mean, Jack Black could be Batman. There, it's done. You cast Batman. Good job. But are those really what make up Batman? Bruce Wayne as a character only has a few things that make him Bruce, which gives us a lot of room for changes with the character. He doesn't really hold his racial heritage in high regard as a part of what makes him him. So would a black Bruce Wayne be so bad? I say, absolutely not. There is no part of Batman that says he has to be a certain race. He is, however, from Gotham, which means he has to be from the States. But beyond that, I think there's enough wiggle room with this character that there's only a few things necessary to stay true to the legacy. 1. Dead parents. 2. Rich. 3. Loves bats. 4. Moody. He's a great example of a very easy character whose background could be respectfully manipulated to the writer's desire. I would say the name Batman does kind of make assumptions to gender. I was going to say perhaps a non-binary Bruce, but I think they would be considered Batperson. Also, this is my pitch for Batperson. It's like the only thing you haven't done yet, DC Comics. My point is that there's a spectrum of characters and their unique identities, and what makes them their own isn't always wrapped around gender, race, culture, ethnicity, or orientation, but then there are some that are, and it's important to acknowledge the difference. Speaking of Batman, how's about his mentor, Ra's al Ghul? Or for that matter, the Ancient One from Doctor Strange, or the Mandarin from Iron Man 3. Do you know what these characters all have in common? They've all been whitewashed in their on-screen movie adaptations, and there are many, many more just like them as well. These are examples of disrespectful, distasteful, or non-sensitive manipulation of characters, and it happens in many varieties. Luckily, Hollywood in general has been making a better effort to cast more properly, but it still isn't where it needs to be. But to be fair, the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 isn't the actual Mandarin, but a stand-in, and the real Mandarin will be making his on-screen appearance in just a few months. But that doesn't change the fact that he was still not cast properly. And to say that they weren't cast properly doesn't necessarily mean the actors did a poor job portraying them. So what does it mean? And what makes these castings and characters different than Batman in that changing their race, orientation, heritage, etc. changes their character? I want to explain why using one that's not more important than any other example, but simply one that hit home to me the most. So I have an array of nationalities in my heritage that makes up me, and I take pride in those in my family. One of these nationalities is Greece, and in case you didn't know, there aren't that many Greek superheroes. So let me just say, I don't pay much attention to the DCEU for various reasons, so forgive me for being behind on this one. But a few months ago, I sat down to watch Wonder Woman for the first time. DC fans, I know. And at first, I was very excited to see some Greek representation on screen. Now, to find out that the actress portraying Diana was not, in fact, Greek was a bit upsetting, simply because of the social strides we've been making for proper representation, but it wasn't enough to get me to stop enjoying the film. But what was enough for me was to see the apparent appropriation of Greek culture in this film. From the lack of representation in all of the Amazons to the film's decision to use an Israeli accent for all of the Amazons to accommodate the woman portraying Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot's accent. First and foremost, it's an actor's job to portray the character, not a character to form fit to an actor so they can stay in their comfort zone. I honestly thought that perhaps if they didn't involve Greek culture or that much Greek mythology, I'd be okay with it. Like, she's Wonder Woman in name alone, and her backstory in this one doesn't have anything to do with Greece, or their mythology, or anything to do with them. But no, as you come to figure out, very early on in the film, Greek culture's all up in there. Between the actors or the production, there was no consideration or respect for the character or where she's from. Wonder Woman's unique characteristics are that she is a Greek Amazon. That's who she is. Her heritage is what makes her character, and she's not alone in these obvious and blatant examples of poor character portrayals. As I said, this is but one example, and there are many, many more. It's characters like these who differ themselves from Batman, and they come in many forms. For Wonder Woman, messing with her heritage is something that distastefully changes the character. For others, it may be orientation or gender, and so on. But being able to make an honest attempt at figuring these things out on a character-to-character basis should be more normalized. Now, I've talked about the negatives and non-sensitive approaches to casting and writing for characters, but seriously, surely there must be some proper ones.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
I'd like to take a moment to talk about Chadwick Boseman in the film Black Panther. This movie took every step it could to show the character's culture and heritage in a great light. And even when production told Chadwick that he didn't need to do an accent for Black Panther, he decided to do it anyways, knowing the importance the portrayal of this character would be.
My character and Michael's character show two different aspects of the black male, and the conflict that exists not just for men but also for women when there's a disconnect from your ancestry.
Yeah.
And an acceptance of the African and the African American. That conflict, we're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So to show that on this stage, at any time it would be great, but to show it right now is an amazing thing.
That's honestly one of the benefits of proper casting, is it would seem in most cases that the actor would put more in and care more for the character if the character represented was in some way a reflection of the actor themselves. Whether you enjoyed all of these movies or not, Disney has done a fantastic job with representation in their live-action reboots, and I hope to see more attempts at proper representation in similar vein as those done by Disney. It doesn't take much to take a moment before you start writing to consider what is important for the character you are writing for and their legacy. For some characters, it may be easier than others, and I want to make it clear that this is not fan service. This is taking pride in your writing and making social strides to better normalize proper casting for all characters, no matter how diverse. Thank you for listening, watching, and as I said, I'm Lightning, of part of the team Thunder and Lightning, and I hope this video gave you some insight and made you think a bit about representation in media. With that, thank you. Make sure you subscribe, please, if you enjoyed the video. We have many other video essays like this and a whole array of other things. And with that, stay safe, stay clean, and we'll see you next time.